I'm Tim Joyce. I'm the retail director, and I run the Old Town School Music Store at the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago. So another sort of group of guitars is the classical or nylon string guitars, and it's a little different sound than the steel string guitar. Let's listen to that first, and then we'll talk some more. So much different sound. You know, the sound you hear, you know, you think of, you know, classical guitar music. This is the sound you get, or flamenco. And a lot of people will choose to start out on this guitar, and that might be the right thing for you. There are some major differences between classical guitars and steel string guitars. One of the biggest thing being the width of the neck. It's a much wider neck, but some people choose to still learn how to play on a guitar like this. But a lot of the other things still apply. You can have laminate classical guitars, you can have solid top classical guitars, you can have all solid. This is a Antonio Aparicio AA15 with a solid spruce top and a laminate mahogany back and sides. And I'll let Tony tell you a little bit more about the bracing and the classical guitars in general.
Classical guitars, as you can see just by looking at it, are very, very different looking than a steel string guitar. Obviously, the nylon strings is a huge, huge indicator here. And then also, as Tim mentioned, the nut width is much greater than that of a steel string guitar. And basically, the reason why is because nylon strings have a much larger vibrating pattern than a steel string does because they're under less tension. So you need that room up here, not only for the difficult fingerings of classical guitar, but also so the strings can move and not bump into each other. And there's also, Tim mentioned, the bracing is extremely different. As you go from steel string to a classical or a nylon string guitar, you lose about probably 40 pounds of tension. So the top can be much lighter. And the bracing on a classical guitar it looks like a fan. It's called fan bracing. And what it is it's basically 5 or 6 pieces of wood that extend out from the bridge to the lower bout of the guitar. And much less bracing on a classical guitar than on a steel string guitar, just due to that, purely as a function of it having less tension. Some of the other, obviously, it's a much darker sound because the strings are not under that tension, and you get that kind of low, very pretty, classical guitar sound.
The benefits of learning on a classical, for a lot of people, they'll come in and, when you're just starting out on guitar, one of the biggest things most people are worried about is it going to hurt my fingers? And it seems a little silly, but people will use nylon string guitars because it's less tension, it's less, you don't have to push down quite as hard, and it doesn't hurt the fingers quite as much. That's a plus. The drawback is you've gotten used to, the width of the neck, and playing a certain way. And you have to, you might be strumming a little harder on a nylon string guitar, and when you make the changeover, just the way you play is going to be slightly different. But not hugely. It's okay to learn on any guitar. You can move from a nylon string guitar to an electric guitar, a classical, or a steel string guitar. And the things are pretty much the same across the board.